Back with another torch review. This time it's the Nitecore MH40GTR, and this was sent in via the company for a test and review. Long range torch with this one, so what we're going to do is just look through some of the specs just to give you an idea of the performance of this, and we'll do a few tests later on. Now, as far as the use of this, obviously long range torch isn't going to be for everyone, but I will go through it anyway. You get the wrist strap included, 3 spare O-rings and a spare cover for the switch. There's also a plastic tactical ring and a stainless steel clip, and here is your power adapter, which is 12 volts 1 amp. You also get a holster with this. It's a neoprene style. You've got a tab on the top there, and it has quite a bit of padding on that, which is fine for a torch of this type. It's heavier and larger. And there's your velcro on the back with a metal D-ring, so you get quite an extensive bundle with this light, and that's probably to be expected because it's this kind of light that you would carry around quite a lot. User guide and warranty card, I will cover the user guide later on. Now, as far as the size, it's pretty typical for a 2-cell 18650 torch, but they have done a couple of different things with this one, but I'll show you the design first off. There's your switch on the base or the tail cap. You have anti-roll grooves in the head, and there's quite a few of them. That also helps dissipate the heat, although at 1200 lumens shouldn't be a problem. But what they've got is a section that you unscrew, and there is an O-ring at the top, hence the reason you get the larger O-ring, and you get a charging port. Quite a bit of thread on that, and it is greased up. But I'll show you the charging port now. It's a barrel style one. I believe you can get a charger for this. The tiny monster car charger works with this, and there's the LED, but you do get the power adapter included with that. I might have preferred a more common connector, but maybe it's just easier for them to waterproof. I'm just guessing that might be a reason for that. As far as the rest of the body goes, pretty similar to other torches I've looked at. You do have a bit of knurling there at the top. Show you with the clip attached, and it's a bit stronger than some of the other Nitecore clips. Not sure that I'd use it with a torch like this, but it is able to hold the torch fairly well if you do use it. And I'll unscrew the base cap to show you the contact points. I didn't get any batteries with this, so I'm going to have to use my own batteries, so I can't really do a charge test with the included. There's supposed to be 2600 milliamp hour ones included with this. I'm not sure if you can buy it on its own. With the tactical ring, just push it over the O-ring, then you can screw in the base or tail cap, and that locks it into place. The fact that it's plastic doesn't really seem to make any difference. It would have been nice to have had aluminium, but it seems to be strong enough. And the rest of the torch here, showing you with the clip and the tactical ring on. I might use the tactical ring, probably wouldn't use the clip. It does help though when you're trying to activate the switch on the base. Now, this uses an XPL High V3 for the emitter and smooth reflector, as you would expect with a big throw torch. Quite a deep size, and you've got that anti-reflective coating. You also have a crenulated bezel on the head, so if you put it head down and it's on, you'll easily be able to see that you've left the torch on. Now, the user interface I've put on the screen for you, this is a bit different because instead of a side switch you have the twisting action. So fully turned to the left, and it will always start in turbo mode. In the middle it's a custom setting, and you pick that, so you can go through and half press on the switch and pick which one you want. If you leave it for about 10 seconds it will remember that and go back to that. If you hit it before that, it will cycle through the next level. And they've also put the strobe modes in there for some reason. If you turn the head to the right, it acts as a switch would do, so it will just cycle through the power levels again. And I've put on screen, it's about 270 degrees, so it's not a full rotation, and there's no clicks on that. There's a reasonable amount of resistance, but they've decided to go with this twist mechanism, and it's different. The mistake I think they made is to put the strobe mode in the main power settings. I would have just moved that over to the full twist to the other side for the strobe. That way it would just let you cycle through the 3 power levels, and you'd be able to get to your turbo. So that is a disadvantage with this torch. I really don't like to see strobe modes in the main settings. And I will show you here with the holster how it could fit on that. A bit easier to get in without the tactical ring, so I don't have any major complaints on the build or the design of the torch, and I'm not against the swivel head. I just don't think they've done it as well as they could have done. Moving on to the charging now, what you want to do is when you've attached this to the adapter is press the switch on the cap and then it will go into a slow flashing. The quick flashing means that it isn't charging or there's a problem, so make sure you do that when you're charging it. Not that quick on charging, but it is what it is. At least you can charge in torch. That was the user guide on screen for you. And on to the waterproof test. Underwater, no problems, and I left it out in the rain for about an hour. Also didn't have any issues, so there's no problems with the sealing on this. Very good job they've done. And I unscrewed the charging port section and that was completely dry as well. Very tight beam on this. It does fill out at closer range at the higher power levels. It does drop down after 5 minutes, so you can just knock it back up again. And comparison to EC30, completely different type of beam pattern. This has a much longer range as you'd expect. So we'll run a few beam shots and I'll come back with a summary at the end. Some of my thoughts with the MH40GTR. I like the design and build of the torch, and I don't think that the rotating head is a bad idea in itself as an alternative to a side switch. Maybe if you've got gloves on or something like that, you can use that instead. You might find it easier, although it does mean it's two-handed. My main beef with this, and I put everything that I think about it on screen, is that the strobe modes are included in the main power levels, and that isn't something that I like to see. It does have a nicely made body, no complaints with the range off of this, very little difference between this and the Claris. You do have in-torch charging if that's something you're going to use, though it's not the fastest. My honest opinion though is that this could be a better torch if Nitecore made some adjustments to that user interface. It's certainly not a bad torch, but it isn't as good as I would have liked. If you've got any thoughts on this, do drop a comment below, and thanks for watching the video.